What's up, Ryan? Thank you very much. It's coming together. One weekend at a time. I'm going to give you guys a little panning tour today once everybody gets here. Go over everything. It's getting there. What's up, Zach? Happy Monday, boys. Oh, had a late night last night. One more week of work and then it's 2 weeks of vacation. I mean, 2 weeks of finishing the studio. Oh man, we got a lot to do. That cabinet, that looks so good back there now. It's all properly racked, and I got a little bit of cable management to do in the back. I need to get some more conduit, conduit. But yeah, man, I spent. Can you hear it? You can kind of hear it, but not really. A little bit. Yeah, the no orange lights on the front of the chassis and shelf that's a good sign. We've got to do the configuration. I've been getting my jet turbine or GT. Yeah, I hear you, Zach. I hear you, man. You should hear it when it first fires up, and then it goes through about 4 levels of kind of idling down. So I was doing that at 1 a.m. Luckily, Esther was like all the way downstairs, 3 floors below me. So I was trying to I was doing things like changing the shelf ID, and you got to power cycle the shelf, and you got to changing power, moving the shelf cables around. I put one of the SAS cables in the wrong port. Simple stuff, simple fixes, but you have to power cycle everything, right? So it's loud when it first fires up. Oh yeah, it's loud when it first comes up. It's very, very loud. But she's sitting over there idling right now. I did the initial kind of cluster setup last night, but you guys got to understand something. The last time I day-to-day managed a storage array, it was on a 3140 before. All right, let's get rid of that. No more email right now. It's on a 3140 before clustered on tap was even a thought. So I'm having to learn some things. It's been about 10 years. Yeah. We're going to go over that. We're going to go over the design of the power. I want to go over that with you guys, the thoughts that I had. I hit a roadblock myself. So the trip light, if you guys remember the PDU that we ordered last week, it is a monitored PDU, so we can set all of that. We're going to set all that up. Probably not today, but later in the week, Wednesday or Friday. But it comes with an L520R twist lock, and it comes with a pigtail to convert it to 515. When I was looking at it, I was like, oh great, it comes with the pigtail. I don't even have to, that's $15 I don't have to spend. So I get it here, and I get the PDU mounted in the cabinet. Everything's great, and I go to put the pigtail on the end of the twist lock, and I go to plug it in, and oops, it's 125 volt. So it's last night at 7:15 p.m. Lowe's closes at 8 p.m. and I run downstairs, throw my shoes on, and run out the door yelling, "Emergency Lowe's trip!" And she's like, "What?" So I run over to Lowe's, hoping that they had a different pigtail that goes from 520R to 515, 110 volt, so I could just plug it in. Of course they didn't. So what I ended up having to do was replace the receptacle, which turn the breaker, shut everything down, turn the breaker off, 2 screws, change the wires out, flip the ground. So you don't typically find 125 volt in typical household walls. You'll find them in like 208 or 210, 220. You'll find that. Yeah. In laundry rooms and stuff like that. So I just changed the receptacle out. Works great. Done and done. Now the power setup. So there's basically there's actually 3 breakers for this entire space. Just this space. There's one double throw 40 amp, I believe, for the AC unit that's in the ceiling. All right, that's one. There's another 20 amp for all of the lights. I think there's 8 to 10 pot lights that are in the ceiling. And that's on its own breaker. And I think that's a 10 amp. It's a smaller 10 amp. And then there's a dedicated 20 amp for all of the receptacles around the wall. Around the room, on the wall. And the 2 that are in the floor back there where the cabinets are. So changing one of those out isn't going to be a big deal. I mean, the receptacle the wiring's rated for whatever. It doesn't matter if it's 110 or 125. It's all about the receptacle and the plug. So as long as the wiring can support the 125 volt, you're fine. And it is. It's rated. And it's been running fine for 12 hours? No. Yeah, about 12 hours now. So here's the breakdown. Here's how I decided to do it. All of the things... actually, let me go open the cabinet door so you guys can see back there a little better. We'll do some zooming in a minute. Does that help? Not much. A little bit. Yeah, that does help a little bit. So you can kind of see, there's the top. Get my finger out of the lens. So at the very top, there's a shelf up there. And I Velcroed my cable modem and Eero core router to the top. And then underneath that, you've got Cisco SG300 Panduit, Cisco SG300 Panduit, and then the MikroTik 10 gig switch under that. And then you got a gap. Chew. And then you've got the A200 and a trip light power strip right there. And then the disc shelf. And then a gap. I wanted to leave a gap there because there might be another shelf or two at some point. And I put my little stand with my temporary laptop Plex server, media server that's right there. It's also acting as a jump host, which you guys will see in a little bit, because my console, USB console cable's plugged in to that. Yeah, I need to get like a wireless camera of some kind that I can walk around with, or just like a 50-foot lead and like a DJI selfie stick or something. One of those Osmos that you can flip around and do all that stuff. Ooh. Yeah, when the AC shuts off, you can hear it. So jump host and media server temporarily until we get that one built, until we get Mega PC done, which is out of the box, which I'm excited about. I got 2 weeks off after this week. That thing's getting done. Liquid's getting put in it, and we're installing Windows on it, by God. And then we've got the Synology, 8-bay Synology, that's a mix of 10 and 14 terabyte drives. My main core sort of storage facilities. And then a lot of room. And then there's a whole other empty cabinet next to it. So I'm not hurting for space. I did get bit. I'm out of data center shape. A cage nut got me. Went under the nail. If you know, you know. If you've dealt with cage nuts before, it's part of the work. Cage nut tools are for wusses. I was thinking about getting some of those fancy ones where they just kind of notch in and they're twist lock. What do they call them? They call them rack nuts or something like that. But they're just little posts that stick out, and there's no more. What you do? What OS are we? Man, it's not just shelves. That is a NetApp dual controller all flash FAS A200. So it is running NetApp on tap, and we're gonna stand it up. We're gonna create some SMB shares, all kinds of good stuff. All kinds of good stuff, and then we're gonna do some. Then we're gonna beat the shit out of it, and we're gonna move about 40 terabytes of data over to it, so that I can repartition the Synology. Because I'm going to take this. I'm losing 2 drives on the Synology. Tools. No, I'm talking about putting the cage nuts in the squares and taking them out specifically. So every now and then one will one will spring out and jump at you, and it digs in underneath your fingernail. Yeah. It used to get me on my thumb really bad. I used to have a massive callus on the edge of my thumb right here, from so many times of it going under my thumbnail. When I was squeezing, I would be squeezing them together to remove them. Also, whoever puts cage nuts in up and down is fired. You're fired. There's one right way to put cage nuts in. And this cabinet had a mix of both. Yeah, the screwdriver gets a little wonky. I go in there and squeeze them and just pull them out. That's again, you got to have the muscles in the fingers to do that. Because when I was doing it every day for 10 years, like you build that up. You build up the resistance to the cuts and all that shit. I don't know. It was an ugly cut. It went deep under my fingernail. Let's see if I put a picture of it in Discord. There we go. Yep. It got me. So we started out with, there we go. So this is how we got the PDU in. Looks really nice. It's perfect fit. The big plugs though with the transformer blocks on them are preventing me from putting the power cable management on there, which is a little disappointing. I might have to modify that a little bit to extend it out a little bit more. Maybe connect another little piece of steel to it, or aluminum, whatever it is. I think it's steel. But I'd love to be able to zip tie all of the or Velcro all of the power cables. Right now it's kind of just strapped in up there. And then, so we put that in, and then I got stopped in my tracks with the old 125. Dope! Pain in the butt. But, quick run to Lowe's fixed that. Then we got up and running. Trip light was, so everything was racked. I put the wrong switch in. Now with the right switch. So that's the MikroTik 10 gig switch. And then the, which I'm probably hoping to get the bigger version of these. I don't really need it yet. How many ports do I have left? One. I have one empty port. And I could probably also steal one from my PC. My PC doesn't need 2 10 gig runs. It's fine. But when I build the new media server, I'm probably going to give that to 10 gigs. So, I mean, the new MikroTik switch that has 16 SFP pluses is like $400. It's not a big deal. It's, it's $400. It's not like I'm dropping 10 grand on a Nexus 5K or something. Speaking of which, I have been keeping an eye out for those. You'd be surprised how cheap you can get those now. So I would get one, but it would be redonkulously loud. And this is about the height of my noise tolerance right now. So let's talk about the power design, because I wanted to explain to you guys what I did and why. So normally when you have a cabinet like this, you have one PDU on each side, and you're crisscrossing your runs for redundancy, your power from the servers or from the storage arrays. You're putting one power lead in one and one power lead in the other, and then those PDUs connect to a pair of gang boxes that are under the raised floor in the data center that go back to the main PDU. Right? So the way I approached this was that I cut out one of the middlemen. So I'm treating the PDU in the back like it is the main PDU in a data center. Not the one that you would use in a cage, but like the big transformer PDU. And what I'm doing is taking these trip light strips that have 12 ports on the back and using them as if they were gang boxes, right? So what I did so that I could track how much amperage everything was using. So the only thing plugged into this strip right here are the 4 power leads for the A200 and the shelf. That way I can kind of monitor the amperage and utilization, and it gets its own 15 amp breaker. So before it ever gets to the core PDU, it has its own 15 amp breaker right here in case something goes wonky. All right, and I can isolate that, I can monitor it, I can keep an eye on it. And the only thing that's going to get plugged into that is the NetApp kit. So as I add shelves, we'll continue to... if I add 2 shelves, I'm probably going to have to get a dedicated circuit run. Because it's about 2 amps per... No, the controllers are pulling about 3 amps, and the disk shelf is pulling a little over an amp. So when these things first fire up, it's over 5 amps. But as it idles back down, we're using about 3 amps on the controller pair with all the embedded disks, and then we're using about an amp-ish on the shelf and all the disks. Not bad. Not bad. And I think I'm using an extra amp. So this one is reporting 4 amps, and the one on the main PDU is reporting 5. So between 3 switches, a Synology, an Eero core, and a cable modem, and the laptop jump host and media server, all of that is an amp. Single amp. Not bad. Not bad. A lot less than I expected. I thought it was going to be 10 to 12 amps. But I remembered I didn't have any servers in this kind of setup. So start adding servers and you're going to get some stuff. You need to put that Eve monitor plug Jason linked in. Oh, it's the kilowatt one. I think you plug it in and then you plug your thing into the kilowatt. You mentioned UPS. That's something I haven't really... I've done some math preliminarily, but the one that would get me up to like a 1500 volt 2U UPS at the bottom of the rack, it's about $2,000. I don't know if I'm there yet. You know, to be able to run for 15, 20 minutes to shut everything down gracefully, I'm just... I'm not at the point of dropping $2,000 yet. So it's alive, all the lights are on, and she's all buttoned up. And she's purty. She's humming away. So yeah, I like the idea of using the 12-port trip light power strips as an inline breaker before the core PDU trips. So I can isolate any sort of things like that. And then I can add any of those that I want to, pulling off, because it's all 120 amp breaker at the core of everything. So my desk here with all my shit on right now is using 2 amps. The entire cabinet over there is using 5 to 6 amps right now. So 8 amps out of 20. Now, if I go over there and start firing up the TV and the consoles and the receiver, like it's going to start, we're going to start pulling some amperage. So anyway, that's the setup. I'm really happy with it. Had a little spat with Cox Cable last night. So get this. Here's one for you. My cable service for gigabit download and 35 megabit upload with their panoramic Wi-Fi modem was sold to me as a bundle. It's $158 a month. $159 a month. Now, for perspective, with back in Raleigh for AT&T Gigapower fiber, gig up and down, I was paying $85 a month. So I call Cox last night and I'm like, hey, I've got my own Aris modem. I want to register, COE. I want to give you the serial and MAC for my own cable modem. Well, sir, that's going to break your bundle and it's going to cause your price to go up because you got a promotional rate because you're using our router. I said, time out. Let me boil this down. You're telling me that if I don't use your modem with the panoramic Wi-Fi, then my price is going to go up? Yes, sir, because it's part of a bundle. Wait, you're going to charge me more money for not using your equipment? That's not the way this usually works. Usually there's a $10 to $12 a month lease for leasing the cable modem from you. You're telling me my price is not going to go down, it's going to go up? Yes, sir, because it's a bundle. Well, I'm just changing the modem. I'm not changing the service. I said, you understand that the first thing I did when I powered up your modem was put it in bridge mode and turn the Wi-Fi off. I'm not using any of your shit. I'm just changing the thing that hands my shit an IP address. It's literally all you're doing is handing me an IP address with that bot. It's part of the bundle. It'll make your price go up. I said, you know what? I'm going to use my equipment and I'm going to give you back your piece of modem that I'm not even using anyway. Because it's a big old, where the hell did it go? What the hell am I going to do with this giant brick? Right? So I almost just out of spite, I'm like, you know what? It's $20 more. I don't care. And I told him, I said, you know what? CenturyLink can't get fiber run to my house soon enough. I said, I hope you guys have a plan. All of you traditional cable companies. Fiber's taking over. And everybody's getting gigabit up and down for less than $100 a month. So what's your plan? $179 a month? And then the principle that I'm taking less overhead away from you. I'm taking overhead away from you by not having to manage that device, and I'm managing my own device that I'm happy to register with you as a device in order to continue to use the service, but it's somehow going to charge me more? Oh, yes, sir, because it's a bundle. Why? Well, he couldn't tell me. Well, because it's a bundle. Why? Well, it's how the bundle was structured together. And why? Nobody could. This was a supervisor. This was a senior supervisor. Because I jumped through 2 other people to try and get answers. It's maddening. It's robbery. $180 a month, guys. oh, you got the unlimited package, so because of the bundle, it was only $30 a month, but you're breaking the bundle, so now it's $50 a month. What? I'm not changing anything. Welcome to cable internet, folks. It's not, Zach. I've looked into it. I've looked into the laser shit where they point two lasers at each other. For gigabit up and down, they want $700-800 a month. I've looked into CenturyLink custom running something for me. They want $25,000 to build the circuit and $700 a month with a 5-year commitment to get gigabit up and down. It's and 8 minutes away. We went to a party Friday night for Esther's best friend's birthday. 8 minutes away. CenturyLink fiber, $79 a month, gigabit up and down. They are 6,000 feet away, just a little over a mile away from my house. I have to just swallow it, just take it, and hope that they expand over the next year or two. Because, I mean, $180 a month for this, that ain't gonna last. That is just unsustainable. Yep. And for some reason, I don't know why, the conduit's all there. The lines are all run. There's a CenturyLink box on the side of my house right now. Literally all they would have to do is pull the fiber through the existing conduit down the street. It's all there. The infrastructure is there. What's the holdup? Spend the money. You know how many customers in... There's got to be 500 houses in the neighborhood that I'm in the giant area where I'm at. They would all sign up because we all want rid of Cox Cable. 6,000 pounds for your own dedicated line to the exchange a mile away. Yeah, that's about right. I think they said 21,000 or something like that for mine. 21, 27. Well, what else have we done? Oh, let me show you guys this. The workshop is up and running. All that's over there. There's Mega PC. So I got the workshop and the table and everything ready to go. Got to set up some lights and cameras and stuff over the break, over the next couple of weeks. So, anyway, workshop's done. Got more stuff off the floor. Did a lot of cable management in the room. I've got raceways around the room. I've got some more coming because I ran out of them. But just so to get stuff from here back to the cabinets, I've got some more of those coming. So yeah, lots of progress over the weekend. Very excited about it. This was the first weekend that I've fully dedicated to this studio space up here. So I'm looking forward to more of it. I'm looking forward to getting things wrapped up, getting Mega PC converted. That's going to be a big deal. I don't know where I'm going to put the son of a bitch. It's massive. It's not going to fit under the desk like the little Antec case does. Or not Antec, Fantex. but I almost want it over there in front of the window on display. Oh, sorry, microphone. There we go. So yeah. Put it in the rack? No. No, it won't fit in the rack. I just want to show you something. All right. So there it is, right? And here's me. It takes two people to lift and move it. It, even without liquid in it right now, it weighs, and the cabling is a disaster for all of the fans and sensors and all of that stuff. But the weight, the sheer weight of that thing, I'm surprised. I mean, the table is kind of bowing a little bit. I bet as it sits, it weighs 85 pounds. I've lifted enough big server gear and enterprise gear to know what about 80 to 85 pounds feels like. I'm not a midget. I'm a big dude. All right. So, what are you sending him here, Zach? Oh, that thing. Yeah. I know what you're referring to now. So I was doing some light reading because it's been about 10 years since I've managed a system day to day. Right. I've connected to them for doing things with virtualization or any other application-based stuff, but it's been a minute. It's been a while. So I've been doing some light reading on ADP. So if you're not familiar with ADP, I think it was part of like 8.2, 8.3. And the idea was the way back in the 7 mode days, the trick way to maximize your capacity was to run a sort of active passive setup in your HA pair and create small 3-disk RAID 4 aggregates for your root aggregates, and then assign all of the disks of each size to one big giant aggregate, so that when you had a system go down, you would just take over on the passive system and all the disk ownership would transfer and your aggregates would stay there and nobody would care. You could do controller swaps, you could do on-tap upgrades, it wouldn't matter, but the active passive configuration was awesome. The problem was you lost 6 disks. Even in that really efficient way, doing it that way, you lost 6 disks. So 10 years ago, capacity was an issue on drives. Before we ever had 1 terabyte drives, it was 144 gigabyte drives, 368 gigabyte drives, right? Those were the big boys. So at the end of the day, we ended up coming up with something called ADP. And what that does is it creates multiple partitions on each drive, just to take up a small number of gigabytes for a root partition that's spread evenly across all of the drives. kind of makes a little more sense. There are some gotchas. There are some things to know. But at the end of the day, there's some ways you can trick it. So you can set up ADP root partitioning on just your embedded drives, and then you can 9A and 9C your shelf so that you get the whole disk, and the root stuff isn't spread across those. What size drives are we using? So we've got the internal drives, the embedded drives in the controller are 960 gigabyte drives, and there's 24 of those. And the shelf is 3.8 terabyte drives, and there's 24 of those. So we're going to end up with 2 aggregates. Well, probably the 2 root aggregates and then the 2 data aggregates. One for each disk type. All right. Or no, RAID groups. RAID groups. One sec, guys. So ideally, what I would love to have, I need the maximum usable capacity possible. That's really what my goal is. The ideal situation is I need maximum usable capacity. So we've got 24 times 3.8 terabyte drives, and we've got 24 by, we'll say 1 terabyte drives, just to keep things easy. So 24 4 terabytes and 24 1 terabytes. It's a lot of capacity. I should be upwards of around like 70 terabytes of usable disk space, or effective disk space, I should say. Because I mean, if you do your maths, if you math that out, 24 times 4 is 96 plus 24. So raw, you're looking at about 120 terabytes right there. Ballpark. Round numbers. So getting 70 terabytes with RAID DP, hot spares, parity drives, and root aggregates. I mean, yeah. The system, I would love to get around 100 terabytes usable with the system, and I think that's achievable. So that's really where ADP comes in, and trying to make sure that it's the most effective configuration so that we can put it all together. But the problem is that I really don't know ADP. Since I came back in 2018, it's been all cloud all the time. So I haven't spent a lot of time with hardware, and ADP is one of those things that kind of went over my head. I'd never got that far down into the weeds of managing a system. So I'm having to learn. And we just fired it up last night. I know Jason said he was going to come by. I've got a console port and system manager set up, right? So we can get all this configured. I just need a little hand holding for when we get there. But I was reading through this document on our field portal about like what are all the FAQs and like can more than 48 SSDs use RD partitioning in an HA pair? Like there's a lot of data in here, a lot of information. This was written by Scott Bell, who is not with us anymore, but really, really awesome TME. And then I had Jason showing me Fusion last night, or technically this morning for him. That's one of the cool things about being back on the West Coast is that my UK friends are getting up in the morning when I'm up at night. All right. So we want projects. Oh, here's the, wait, what? Oh, I didn't finish this one. So I want to design a system. DCD. Go to design. We're going to do a system. We're going to add an A200. Oh, yeah. Show legacy. There we go. A200. Not the UTAs. Or is it the 24 960s? A200A. Yeah, I think that's it. We're currently on tap 9.6 P1. And then I need to add I thought it was 2246. We'll add that. Oh, I guess you guys can see this. So yeah, 100 terabytes effective capacity without snapshots. Aggregates. Wait, what did Jason send me? Hang on one second. Jason sent me something. Oh, he sent it in email. Hang on one second. Save as picture. Desktop. Jason Fusion. All right. Close Outlook again. You guys don't need to be in my email. Naughty, naughty. All right. So this is what we ended up with, what he put together. So we've got an AFF A200 with 48 SSDs, and we ended up with 115 terabytes raw, 72 terabytes usable. And this was the partition map, or sorry, the aggregate map that he put out, or put together. So I think this is what we're going to start out with. I'd love to... There is a way that you can also just let the system do it on its own. So I was talking with one of our senior hardware folks, and he was saying what's faster is having the external shelf attached and doing a 9A and 9B on both concurrently. You'll see a thin partition on the 3.8s that is carved out for the root aggregate, which will only live on the internal root partition. And that's the easy way to do it, to maximize everything. Right? So, let me minimize that. And get this down, jump host RDP down here. Come on. Oh, hang on. It's in the wrong controller. 1 second. Starship. Alrighty. You guys can't see that, can you? There we go. I need to make my putty thing session font. Settings. Change settings. Appearance. Font. Oh, there it is. Let's do like 24. Is that too big? That's better. All right. So, so if we do storage, what is it? Storage disk show. There we go. So we've got Agger zeros on both nodes. And we're going to get down to the shelf 1.10 on the left-hand column, and you can see all those disks are just not even, we don't even have ownership sorted yet. So basically what we've got to do is we've got to reboot back into the, let me get back this way. We've got to reboot back into the boot menu, and I think it's a 9A is what we want to do. I need to get my Teams and my Discord. There we go. So system, is it reboot? What is the system node reboot? Oh, come on. Starship 1. Yes. Ah. Want the menu, and then it's boot on tap menu, I think. Fips. Oh, goodness. Good times. Good times. All right, let's block all this. Let's see. Hide user. Hide user. Hide user. All the spams. All right. Oh, okay, here we go. So we're going to the ADP menu. I think there's a way I can turn on. How do I do that? Subscriber only chat. Yeah, there we go. We'll get rid of them bots. Waiting for get back. No. It is a lit node. Do you wish to halt this node rather than wait? No. I just want to get in the boot menu. Why are you... Oh, God. Well, at least I know takeover or HA is configured. Yeah, destroy the file systems, whatever. I haven't configured any file systems. What did you put in Discord? I have to minimize the damn thing every time I want to change this around. Yeah. It's if you're a subscriber, it shows it on comments on videos too. It puts a little red icon next to it. No, what is happening? Why? Just I want the boot menu. I'll go turn the other damn controller off if I need to. So this is, it's boot on tap menu is what I want. Not menu. No! I basically just want to wipe this thing completely clean, take ownership of all the discs, reset everything up. Oh, Jesus. Come on. I know. This is part of the fun, though, man, is this initial setup. And the irony of this whole thing is it's kind of cobbled together with pieces and parts from all different places that's been configured before. So the very first thing is to just completely wipe everything, reinitialize everything, reconfigure everything from scratch. Because the problem that I ran into, I did that on the controllers with the embedded discs, and then I added the disc shelf, and come to find out, the discs in the shelf are from all over the place. There's disc ownership assignments that are all over the place. Shouldn't this be something that can be done using normal commands instead of going through all of this? Normally, yes, but you have to understand the special circumstance. This was an existing system that was using, what's the right way to say this? It was there are discs from multiple shelves that were kind of brought together and cobbled together and thrown into all of this. I initialized the controllers last night, which went fine. And then I put the shelf in this morning and noticed that all of the discs had ownership assigned to them from all over the place. So there's a little bit of a mess to clean up. It's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely something that, look, get past this stuff and everything's easy. Yes, you can just go into a GUI and create a volume, assign SMB to it, give it permissions, and you're done, right? This initial, like, gathering all of these components together and making a system out of them takes a little bit of work. Normally, when you take a box when you take a system out of the box, put it in your racks, all of this has been done for you already. We're good. We're getting down into the weeds with this stuff. All right, so now it's going. This is all like BIOS level configuration of stuff. So we're not actually managing storage yet. This is the fun stuff to me. Also, this is an A200, so it was from 2016. It was about 5 years old. Correct, Dave. Yes. The shelf was not attached when I did the initial initialization. Initial initialization. All right. So I need to turn off failover. Oh. Yeah, disk ownership is assigned to the nodes in the cluster. So if I do storage disk show, you'll see that the owner is Starship 2. So I named the cluster Starship, and then the nodes are Starship 1, Starship 2. There's 2 nodes. So you'll see that it has the ownership there, and you'll have multiple nodes. Oh, come on. Right? And so all of this looks fine. These are the 24 disks. So look at this is system 1, shelf number, disk number. So the shelf number on the embedded drives it's 00. And then you'll see once we get down to the shelf, I gave it shelf number 10 because I like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I like to do mine that way. So now you see it's a disaster. Like there are whatever that system was, it doesn't even have capacity readouts yet. So we need to go through and we need to boot this system into the boot menu. The problem is that it's takeover enabled. So I need to find the storage failover takeover. I need to disable it. Hang on. Yeah, that's right. Nope. What? Come on. Well, that's old. That's the old command. You must shut down the node nodes of chassis prior to moving them to the new chassis if you have a cluster with more than 2 nodes. Yeah. Let's try this. What? Oh, it's missing the pipe. Oh, it's 2 different ones. Oh, I see. So cluster HA modify configured false. If I could type. Unconfigure cluster HA. Yes. Must be configured to. Yep. Storage failover modify node Starship 1 enabled false. Oh, Jesus. Cool. All right. So now we can reboot it. I see what you did there, Zach. At least we're not configuring or doing BGP configs, right? All right, so now system shut down. I can never remember that. It always tells me system node reboot. That's what it is. What? Oh, that's right. I always got to put the node name. Pretty sure you bricked a few Cisco kit. You can always reflash them. Come on. Boot your ass back up. Give me the boot menu. Boot on tap, not menu this time, MENU. Ooh, that scared me. The time zone on this jump host is wrong. Like, holy shit, it's 3 o'clock. No, it's not. All right. So we need to go to the ADP menu. Let's try this time without the HA configured. There we go. So, give me a second. I got to look at my notes over here. My cheat sheet. So Chris is saying to 9A and 9B on both nodes. Yeah, we'll fix all that. All right, so 9A. Warning! This is a disruptive operation will result in the loss of all file system data. It's a good thing there's not any. This option has been executed or will be executed on the HA partner node prior to reinitializing any system in the HA pair. The HA partner node is currently waiting at the boot menu. Cool. Yes. All right. So what this should be doing is it's taking all ownership that whatever it's configured to. 68 I don't have 68 disks. I don't have 34 disks. I have 48 disks. Okay. Where are all those disks? I wonder if it's partitions. I bet it's partitions. All right, so now we need to 9B. Yep. Actually, yeah, it's counting. I bet it's counting partitions. There's 48 physical drives in the whole thing. Let me switch and do the same thing on the other node. One sec. System node shutdown. Oh. Node 2. Command failed. I want a data service failure. Ignore quorum warnings. Yes. Okay. So basically what I want to do is 9A both of them, get them both back to that kind of cleansed ownership state. And then we're going to do a 9B to reinitialize using ADP. Yeah, they thought it was still part of an HA pair. So we're basically we're wiping everything and reinitializing everything. Because I did configure it last night as an HA pair, and everything was up and running and it was fine. But once I got to the ownership problem of the shelved disks, that's where we got into an issue. So boot, on tap. Right now we're on the second node because I moved the console cable over. So that we can basically do the exact same thing on the second node as well. So we're gonna cleanse everything, we're gonna wipe it all, remove all ownership, all partitions, off the shelf, everything. And then we're gonna go back in and we're gonna reinitialize the entire system, right? Oh. I wanted the boot menu. Please give me the boot menu. Don't make me go through all this again. Was I talking and I missed the prompt? No such thing, Dave. I love the questions. Keep them coming. There we go. 9. So, clustered on tap. Brief overview. You can have up to 24 nodes in a cluster. I believe that's still the maximum. However, you can do what's known, and those 24 nodes would be connected through like a cluster interconnect switch. Think of it like a backhaul over 10 gig or 100 gig or 40 gig a lot of times, where the cluster nodes can talk to each other, right? It's like a backplane. So when you have just a single array with 2 nodes in it, all you do is you connect A to B and B to A in your, where you would normally hook up to the cluster interconnect backplane. You just hook the 2 controllers together so they can talk to each other, and you have a 2-node cluster, right? But I can always take this, throw a cluster interconnect, another 10 gig switch in, and move the cables and start adding nodes if I want to down the road, right? It's really flexible with how you configure all of this. So we're gonna 9A the same thing. Yep. Basically, yeah. Basically. So you've kind of got three networks at play. You've got the cluster interconnect network, which is the backplane of all of the nodes. You've got the data, kind of the front end network, which is how hosts interact with it. And then you've got the management network, which is all three of those should be separate subnets. The cluster backplane is all like 169 addresses. That's how it IPs all the interfaces, right? So they all talk to each other. Old Ice Cuzzy, yeah. So the backplane talks over 169. It's basically ARP. And then you've got a data management, kind of a front-end data network that you'll probably want to, like, layer 2. I doubt you'd want to route much traffic around that. And then you've got your management network that you can access through jump hosts or SSH or whatever you want to. Usually those are separate subnets. What was I doing? I did the 9A. So now let's switch back to the other node, the primary node, Starship 1. I'm going to flip the console cable again, and we're going to do the 9B, where we're going to initialize the node with the partition disks, right? One sec. Okay. Yeah, 9B on both nodes now. Wait. Whoa. No. I didn't hit anything. No. What's happening? Ah! I just hit enter. Oops. What did I hit enter on? Yeah, okay. 9B. Yes. This takes me back to, I would have metal playing in the ears and I would be sitting on the floor of the data center next to a rack with a console cable and a laptop, and this was my happy place. Believe it or not, like, this was, I love doing this stuff. What's up, Drew? We're doing storage configuration, my friend. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam. You haven't missed the fun yet. We're just trying to get the whole system completely reinitialized. Almost there. Almost there. There is a different way. You might have seen the 9C option, where you can initialize them as whole disks. It doesn't partition across all of the disks. Start our partition 12. There we go. Nice. Nice. Shelf 0, 22, 23, and now we're going to the shelf. Off volume convection state change to aggr 0. System is initially completed successfully. Partner not responding. I know, because I turned it off. Or it's in the boot menu. Boot. Boot. All right, so now we got to do the same thing on the other one as well. Yeah, I know. I don't want it to be. Give me a login prompt. There we go. Whoa, what happened? Oh, we're doing cluster setup. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. No, not yet. Wait, what? Oh, yes, I want to do cluster setup. Management node. This is Starship 1, so is 172.16.10, 222. Net mask. 172.16.10, 1. Yeah, we'll finish it here. I'm going to leave this right here. We're going to swap it one more time. Would it have been faster just to wipe the drives and come back? No, that's what I did last night, but we'll get back to that. This is different. This is ADP. So there is a way to manually take ownership of the drives, but who knows how they were configured, how they were partitioned. They needed to be just, all the partitions needed to be wiped out and recreated. So we should be at a boot. Yep, so we're going to 9B this one now. Yes. And it's going to go do its thing. So same thing. We're just doing the exact same thing on two different nodes. All the disks should already be pretty much wiped out. So we should be got to cluster setup. Then I'll switch the console back to one. We'll add the other node. Or we'll run the cluster setup. We'll run the cluster setup on one, and then we run it again on two and tell it to join an existing cluster. Like I said, out of the box, all of this is already done for you when you order a system. For various reasons. For ease of configuration, for burn-in, for all kinds of testing, QC, all that. Oh, it found the node, so it might do it automatically. Because we've completely reinitialized everything now. We're doing the whole cluster setup again. So this is what you would normally get. You would be at this point when you turned on a system, right? This is where you would boot up to the menu and say create a new cluster. Yes. And you'd start from there. So we're partitioning the disks now with ADP. Yeah. Basically. All right, so initialization. So I wanted to let you guys know the plans in case we don't get through all of this today. I do have to run promptly at the top of the hour. That's why I started a little bit early today. Because I knew we had a lot of stuff to do, and I wanted to do this on stream with you guys. The plan is I'm going to work with NetApp support to create a dummy customer, a dummy corporation. And we're going to call it DCDDC, Data Center Dudes Data Center. DCDC.LLC, whatever we're going to call it, right? We're going to set it all up in support. We're going to turn on the auto support phone homes. We're going to set up Active IQ. We're going to set up everything that a customer would normally get access to or see in their support account. We're going to tie my login to that customer. Yes, cluster setup. E0M 172.16. Nope. Wait. Shit. What node am I in? Hang on. I think I'm in the second one. I just want to confirm. What guarantee is there that there's not? You can totally, so when your system first boots up, you'll see what's on the screen right now, the cluster setup wizard. And I think by default, they are initialized with a couple of base aggregates, right? You can certainly go back in and do what I just did and reconfigure it using ADP. And I'm not sure if they default to doing it with ADP today. That's a question I'd have to ask the logistics folks, like how they're doing it. Do you want to create a new cluster? We're going to create single node cluster. No. There they go. Yep, that's fine. So you can see there it's detecting the cluster backplane. So it's got the two addresses. It does its own thing. Just let it do what it wants to do. Admin password. And retype it very carefully. All right. Step 1 of 5, create a cluster. We're going to call it Starship. Password 1 bang is actually the, yeah. Or NetApp 1 bang is what we used to use that too 10 years ago. We don't have license keys yet. We'll skip that. Set up a vServer. We won't do that. Enter the cluster. It's E0M. It is going to be 172.16.10.225 for cluster management. Same netmask. So node 1 is 222. Node 2 is 223. And then we've got a VIP for the cluster management of 225. Right. Gateway is the same. Been created. You can use this address to connect to it and manage it. Yeah. So dcddc.com. Name. So the name server, I'm just going to point to my gateway for right now. SFO enable, setup node. You can type back, exit, or help. Where is the controller located? Las Vegas. Okay. So it created the cluster. We've got to go through and do the same thing. I'm going to switch the cable one more time. We're going to add the node, then I'll switch the cable one more time, and we're almost done. Okay. Node management interface IP address 172.16.10.223, because this is node 2. Netmask. Gateway. All right. We're going to do it here. Switching cables. Yeah. We're going to join. You want to use this configuration? Yes. Enter the IP address of an interface on the private cluster network from the cluster you want to join. I think I should have used 225. Enter the IP address of an interface on the private cluster network. Oh. Well, let's see what happens here. So it's wanting one of these the private cluster network are these 169 addresses. Yeah. I think that's what it wants to. I'll scroll back up here in PuTTY and... Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the backplane network. I know. Just let it fail. Let it fail. Fail already. When it said enter, I read that as, hey, just enter any IP address for the other node and we'll figure the rest out. Yeah, I know. Just fail. Right. A few hours later. So we had what? 209.51 and 223.88. And then 184.76, 197. All right, so I think that's what it wants. Restonk. Cool. At least you just gotta hit enter a bunch of times. Join. Yes. Enter the IP address of an interface on the private cluster network from the cluster you want to join. What's up, Sheppy? It's good to see you, man. So I needed... that one. Hey, come on. Hey, it's talking to it. There we go. That's better. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. All right, switching the cable again one more time. All right. Yay! Yay! All right, storage, disk, show. All right, so there's our 960s. And they're all unassigned, but they don't have ownership. So you have a single node cluster at this point. No, I have a 2-node cluster with a shelf full of unassigned disks. Oh, okay. So some of them are assigned as spares. So if we go to HTTPS, go to 16.10.225. Yeah, there we go. Should find them both. Yay. No, I was moving the console cable between the two controllers in the array. So they look the same behind, so it's a 2U footprint chassis that has two PCMs, two controller modules, and then it has embedded, it has 24 SSDs, 24 drives, 0 through 23. And then I have an additional shelf underneath that that's also basically the same chassis, It's just got different modules, IOM modules instead of PCMs. And we're cabling those up, and it gives you a total of 48 disks. So that's not what I wanted. So our nodes are up. System IDs are there. Everything's good. We need disks. It created aggregates. Disks. Boom. That's the difference right there. The dark mode. I don't know. Yeah, it's called the console. There's your dark mode, Zach. It's called putty. So now we're seeing, so we've got 4 spares. Wait a minute. Also, these are being treated as partitions then. Spare partitions. Partitioned and non-partitioned disks. Interesting. So if I want to create an aggregate now, manually create it, we're going to browse for our disks. There we go. We've got 24. Well, that's interesting. Why is it only showing me 420 gigabyte disk size? So this is where I start getting a little with aggr data, do underscores. 1 number of disks. Why can't I choose number of disks? We've got 24. Why is it saying 9 terabyte? Total capacity. So this is where my math isn't working. Let's look at disks and spares. How do I mark this as? I want to remove the spare stuff. This is probably a good stopping point because I need to figure out how ADP partitioned all of this stuff at the end of the day. I did wipe the drives and repartitioned them. That's exactly what we were just doing, Dave. It repartitioned them with some kind of default thing. So it created 2 400 gig aggregates, 368 gigabyte aggregates, root aggregates, over 10 disks, across 10 disks. It carved up a root partition of 368 gigabytes. I didn't do 9C. I did it on one of them. Did I not do it on both of them? Oh, Jason's finally here. Well, let's try something. I have the actual installable, the Java app. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Starship. No SNMP. Oh, oh, okay. So why did I install a Java app that just takes me to the same thing I was already in? Okay, that shit's getting uninstalled. I did 9A and 9B on both of them. Yeah, the 9C is whole disks. That's like a more advanced version of this kind of initial setup that we're doing. One of the very first things I want to does it run the log4j? It's not a laughing matter, but it's becoming a meme. Like BGP a few weeks ago. Yeah, so let's fix that right now, because I want Java off my damn system. Why do they have an installable that requires me to run Java just to open up a browser window that I could bookmark? What? So many files. Hang on one second, Jason. All right, well that can just do its thing. All right. Here's our jump host. And we're in, I think we're on node 1. So we just got done doing a 9A and a 9B on both nodes. So is there more to do now? I was talking with Chris, and he said to skip the whole disk thing for right now. Could always come back and do that. So let's do, what was that damn cluster HA modify configured false. Turn that off, turn HA off. And now we want to do system, come on, system node shutdown node All right, so let's go back to the menu and see what we did. So we want to do boot, on tap. What is Glink? So 9.6 P1 is the version that we're on. I think we're currently on 9.9 or 9.10. That definitely needs to be upgraded, but I wanted to capture that process for video once we get to that point. Guys, we're going to be tearing this thing down and rebuilding it and tearing it down and rebuilding it a lot over the next month or two, just to show some of these processes and how all of this stuff works. It's going to be a minute before we actually put any data on this. Okay, so Jason, last night I did the good old option 4 and initialized everything. Cleaned the config and initialized everything. In talking with you and Chris, what I've done so far, just so you know, on both nodes is a 9A and a 9B. At the same time, just moving the console cable back and forth. Yes. All that has been taken care of through the 9A and the 9B. So we stripped all of that. It deleted all the partitions. And the 9B just initialized it and repartitioned everything. So that's where we're at. We just got to that point. And I've created the cluster and both nodes are talking to each other. We've got root aggregates created. Partitions. So right here... HTTPS. Let's pull this up so you can see. It might not show that node. Yeah, I know it's offline. So aggregates. So I still can't get my head around how it's doing the partitioning thing. It's really messing with me because the math isn't working in my head. So we've got a 368 gigabyte root partition or aggregate that is striped across 10 disks on each node. And then if we look at the disks, total number is 48. That's correct. 24 in each shelf. But what these sizes? Where are these sizes coming from? Spare capacity, 9 terabytes. Where's the 100 terabytes that all these disks add up to? I'm missing something somewhere, and I can't figure it out for the life of me. So if we go back to disks, you can see we've got, well, these are the spares, but where's all the capacity? Inventory. It's saying physical space 186 gigabytes. Okay. So shouldn't that show up here in... All right, well, hang on. Let's pull the session back up. Wait, I turned it off. Why did you do a failover? God. I'm not crazy, right? What? Why did it do a failover? What's up, Ninja? Well, that's not the point, Zach. If I turn off HA, I want to know that HA's turned off. And if I turn it on, I want to know that it's on. Do what I tell you to do. I know I'm being a little over dramatic. I apologize. Ninja, what's up, man? Happy Monday. HA is always on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're at the menu. Do we need to pop onto the other node and see what it's doing? I'm wondering if we need to disable HA on that one also. I figured disabling HA was a universal cluster thing.